Alrighty. Welcome everyone to the first of a series of Cocodona Talks. I am your co-host, Jamil Coury, here with our race director of Cocodona, Steve Aderholt.
Hey folks, happy to be here.
Awesome. So we wanted to sit down and do a few of these talks just to update all of you out there across the world on what's going on with the Cocodona 250 for 2022. So this is episode 1 of the Cocodona Talks, and we wanted to touch base on a few things, a few changes, what to expect with this year, and some exciting other ways you can get involved with this race as we lead into 2022. That's my intro.
Yeah, sounds good.
You're back in Arizona. We're happy to have you.
I slept for like a month, and then did a few fun projects, and then now back to work on Cocodona. Yeah.
Awesome. Give us a quick recap of your summer, because you did a lot of exciting things. I know Cocodona is your focus for about half the year. What are you doing with your time elsewhere?
Yeah. Good question. I helped put on a mountain bike race in Park City. It's Park City Point to Point. That was a lot of fun. That was in September. Did a lot of just adventures in the mountains and then the desert. After Cocodona, I was actually pretty trashed after the race. For me, a race takes it out of me, out of my soul. And so it takes quite a while, especially for a race like Cocodona, the magnitude of Cocodona to bounce back from that. So I was down for 2 or 3 months. So it took a while to get some energy back, but yeah.
Feeling like you're on the upswing,
totally.
maybe?
Oh yeah. It's been a couple months. So
great.
Yeah, I was out at Tusher's, and that was another amazing race. Swept that with some friends. So yeah, it's been a great few months.
Awesome. Well, what do we have to talk about today?
Well, first, Cocodona is going to take place May 2nd through the 7th. So same weekend or same week basically as last year's 2021 race. We have 105 runners registered thus far.
185.
Yeah.
I think you said 105.
185. Yeah.
Yes.
Cutting it short. And we've got, interestingly enough, 18 finishers from last year coming back to race with us again.
That's exciting. They didn't get enough, did they?
It's a pretty big pill to swallow, and I guess they either want to improve on their time or they're just going to do it forever.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how many of these 18, or if it grows, continue to do it for a third year and a fourth year and a fifth year. If there's anybody who's going to just keep running.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Seeing some of the scenes from the documentary makes me want to do it again.
Well, I don't see your name on the list thus far. So.
Yeah, I figure.
But I know a guy. Let me know if you need an entry.
I figure I need to be on the other side of the table this go around and work this one, but
sweet.
Maybe I'll return the year after. You never know.
I'm happy to run if you want to take over.
Take the reins. All right. We'll talk about it.
All right. Yeah, I'm sure. Sweet. Do we want to go through those 18 runners?
Yeah, let's give them a shout out. That'd be awesome.
Sweet. Okay. So first on the list, we got Todd Backman.
Yep.
Just trade off.
Yeah,
here?
we trade off. Next up, we got Courtney Boyle.
Daryl Denny.
Shout out to Daryl, because he's the one that provided these chairs we're sitting in. He's the one that outfitted our office with a bunch of furniture.
Cushy.
And he signed up very last minute this year.
3 days before the race.
Yeah, 3 days before, and he got it done. And I think it was his first time even running longer than 100 miles.
I to be honest, when he emailed me to get into the race, I was like, there's no way you're going to finish with 3 days. I've never heard of this guy. Who is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey,
got it done.
I'm super impressed. That's great.
Next up is Kara Diamond Hussman.
We got Colin Fallon.
Aaron Fleischer.
Don Greenwelt.
One of our top runners from last year. Brian Hussman.
We got Brian Janzik.
Sarah Ostaszewski, who shortly after finishing this year moved to Flagstaff. Maybe in part because of the race. Speculation.
Yeah, we'll tell Discover Flagstaff. We brought some new people to Flagstaff. Oh, and she's going to be, arguably on the podium this year, or going to be fighting for the podium for sure.
She just won Mogollon Monster 100 and has just been on a tear all fall. So I would love to see her take a little bit of a downtime at some point here and then maybe fire things back up. But yeah, cool. She's just exploring all over.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see her on the course again. Wes Plate. So Wes put out he puts out a bunch of great videos, post-race videos about his experiences. Has a great one for Cocodona. So yeah, check that out. Happy to have Wes back on the course.
We got Scott Ramey returning. David
Reidman.
Jody Seminelli.
Jose Sosa.
I was running some miles with Jose. Saul Vidrio.
Mark Vogel.
And Danny Westergaard.
So yeah, those are our 18 finishers from 2021 returning with us in 2022. So shout out to those folks.
Yeah, shout them out. And not to minimize anyone who attempted this year and is coming back. We know there's a lot of you as well. So maybe we'll look at those names next time or something. So we're excited to have everyone back. We've got something exciting dropping this week. So our long-awaited in-house produced film on the inaugural Cocodona 250 from this year. It's called Inaugural Year, a story about the first ever Cocodona 250. And this has been being put together by Dylan Harris, who's on our media team here. He's been working on this for many months, and it is dropping this Friday, I believe around 6 p.m. Arizona time, somewhere give or take. So if you have some time this weekend, Friday night, if you want to see it first off, or sometime this weekend, check it out if you have about 40 to 50 minutes. It will be dropping on the Aravaipa Running YouTube channel, and you can already go check out the trailer. So this trailer right here is live on the Aravaipa Running YouTube channel. Go check it out.
Man, anytime you have a video with somebody puking in the first few seconds, you're like, whoa, this is going to be for real.
I think the trailer itself, it gets me emotional every time.
Yeah.
Just some of the quotes that were used, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Makes me want to go back.
I can't wait. I'm going to, 50 minutes is a long time to watch, but I might watch it twice in a row. So excited for that. So also coming up, we've got staff and aid station captain sign up going on right now. I've reached out to the aid station captains from last year. Love to have those folks back. So working on that right now. If you are interested in working in a staff capacity or taking on an aid station, send me an email at steve@aravaiparunning.com. And then we'll have regular volunteer. So, just come out and work an aid station or help us set up or tear down the start or finish line. That'll come live on December 2nd. So a few things going on. And I think we wanted to mainly focus on the changes, the things that we're going to work on, improve, some course changes that we have coming on. So yeah, let's.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so that was kind of, just our introduction, but we really want to give you guys like some really great information on what's been going on behind the scenes and even kind of bounce a few things off in the community. We were talking earlier, like how much should we share? And we feel like we want to be relatively open with what we're trying to do and solicit your feedback. So let's move into some of the changes.
Cool. So a couple of new additions to the race that I'm super excited about, and it's awesome that Jamil wants to go in this direction. Also, we're doing a scholarship program, so we have applications on now. If you know somebody or if you are in need, want to run the race and feel that you have a financial need, we'd love for you to tell us about that. Send me an email at steve@aravaiparunning.com. And one entry will be granted for that scholarship program. Super excited about that. We also have a charity bib program coming with a partnership from Wander Project. Wander Project offers charity bibs for races, and we've partnered with them for you as a runner to be the fundraiser and to raise funds for really a charity of your choice. Or if you don't pick one, we're going to pick one that's kind of fits along with the theme of the race and a charity along the course. So it's a $2,500 minimum fundraising commitment. And with that, you get a free entry into the race. So thanks again for allowing that to take place, Jamil. So charity bib program. Okay. One big thing that we didn't do perfectly last year was cutoffs. The course was pretty hard. I think people struggled, especially that first day coming out of the start line, getting up into the Bradshaws, really hot, really rugged. And the times that I had listed for estimated first runner and also the first finisher and all the cutoffs to the aid stations, we were on the fly adjusting those during the race, which you can kind of expect for a first-year race. Nothing goes exactly as planned. So those cutoffs are definitely going to be adjusted for this next year. That information is already up on the website and in the runner guide. So cutoffs have been adjusted. Another change, so Crown King Aid Station 3 is the first place that crews can access their runners. It's an awesome, I was going to say town, but probably not even considered. Well, it is a town.
It's a small, very small community town.
Very small
in
town.
the mountains, yeah.
And so thus parking is pretty limited up there. So we're going to try to time when crews go up there to access their runners and not just be up there all day because it is pretty limited. So that's a new thing that we're going to do. For that, we're going to have at the start line an area to hang out for crews. After the runners go off, we'll have an area to sit, be in the shade, order food and drinks. We'll have the live feed up and running. We'll have runner tracking up and running. So yeah, we'll be there for your entertainment and also kind of all the needs that the crew may have. And then we'll release you as your runner gets to a certain point on the course when we can send you up to Crown King. So
quick question on cutoffs. The overall cutoff still maintaining at 125 hours?
Yeah, good question. Yes, 125 hours. What we found was it was really the first half to 2/3 of the course that the cutoffs needed to be adjusted. And then those later cutoffs, we had enough buffer that those were enough. So yeah, still 125 hours total cutoff. So, yep. Water carry, that first day was quite hot. We required runners to take 3 liters capacity from the start line and fill up that 3 liters at the first aid station. 3 liters. How many did you carry, Jamil?
I think I had at least 5.5, maybe a little more. And I think part of that was I was planning to carry some extra just in case some folks needed it. So I ended up passing definitely probably 1.5 liters out to some people. So.
Yeah, that was smart. So you'd been on that first section before and run it, and you how rugged and hot and hard and loose and
that was part of it. And then I think I just threw the couple of these collapsible containers, and I didn't really realize how much that I had that much overage. So I just filled up everything I had, and it ended up being that much at the end of the day. So
yeah, and
I'm
you
not
still
mad about it. I was down to like a little bit, but I was pretty okay, even with passing out a liter. But
well, there you go. Jamil was prepared. There were a lot of folks that weren't prepared. It should have been a 4-liter carry. That's been changed. So from the start line, you have to leave with a capacity to carry 4 liters and fill up at that first aid station. That stretch from aid station 1 to aid station 2 is 20.5 miles and has big gains. It's really steep up and down terrain, loose, super hot out there. So we've increased that by 1 liter, and we're also going to add a water station. It's not an aid station, full aid station. It'll just have water, but it'll in that stretch, you'll be able to fill up in that 20 miles. So it's roughly halfway in that 20 miles. So
yeah, and the 4 is definitely a required minimum. And I would say if we see another hot day like we did last year, I think our recommendation would be more.
Yeah.
And that way you'd have an additional water if you want to, wet down your bandana or your sleeves or something. So
yeah, I think people that underestimated it were really hurting. So yeah, that's good. More water, the better. So food, this is probably our biggest feedback from runners. Patty does an amazing job with food for our races. And we had planned on kind of the aid station staples and then breakfast, lunch, and dinner, pretty much at every aid station, rotating through those meals. And it really we could have simplified and done a better job. And that's what we're going to do for next year. So every aid station will have a meal, whether it be burgers or lasagna or spaghetti or stir fry, whatever. Each aid station will have one meal that they're focused on, and then they're going to provide to runners for the entire event. You get their breakfast, you get that meal. You get their lunch, you get that meal. And we'll also have all the other aid station staples and food as well. But in terms of meals, we're going to have hot, hearty, big quantity meal for you at each aid station. We'll have one of those. There'll be a vegan option and a meat option. So we heard you loud and clear. We want lots of meat, and we'll have vegan options too. So that's a huge change for
Yeah.
us.
And I think part of it too, we were kind of planning, I think at not every aid station, we were like kind of, maybe every other or something. And I think that we got to go every one.
Yeah.
With just a race this long and the amount of time we found, especially for those folks that don't have a crew, I think it's so critically important to have like those bigger meals. So that is definitely going to be a change for 2022.
Yeah. I'm personally really excited to try out each and every one of those meals.
As you make your way up the course.
Yeah, I'm going to do things a little bit different. Last time I was parked in the communications trailer, and I felt totally disconnected from the race. I'm going to bounce along with.
It was pretty cool. You should check it out.
Yeah. Thanks.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, I will check it out this year. So those meals are going to be great. Okay, so course changes. This is something that I'm sure anyone who ran last year.
Do you want me to pull up the map now?
This is the
let's
time.
Do that. Okay, give me 1 second, guys.
This is the time.
Yeah, you can continue on.
So, there are a few minor course changes that we're going to make, and then a couple of major course changes that we're making. Some of them are 100% finalized, and some are still in the works. We're going to go through all the ones that are pretty well down the line in terms of we're confident that we're going to be able to make these changes. There are a couple still yet that we're working on. In terms of the course overall, it's going to stay basically the same. We're still going to start in Black Canyon City, still ending in Flagstaff. It's basically making the same trajectory, but we're going to make the course better. So, yeah, that's what we're going to go through. So right off the bat from the start, aid station 4. We talked about the water station between 1 and 2.
Yeah, the water station will be at Milk Ranch Point, which hopefully you guys can see this on the screen, but right there. Milk Ranch, that was where unfortunately the creek dried up on us.
Yeah, it would have been great if there was water there, but we're going to get water there for you.
So moving up, you can see Crown King there. And then, of course, you climb up, and that's the Senator Highway section.
Oh, and man, that section you were saying how great that section was to open up your legs. And
it was awesome because just how hard that first part was. And then I was originally a little bummed that we would be on a dirt road. And then when I got there on race day, I was so thankful. There was some really thick forest back there. So we're in the shade.
Yeah.
And then it's just the views off to the west here was incredible as like the sun was setting. So
yeah, that is a great section.
So moving up here, Battle Flat, I think was...
So yeah, Battle Flat was
it there
here,
maybe?
Right here, yeah. We're going to move it just down the road about a half a mile to Aroostook Creek. It'll be right here. So last year, the aid station was just really getting hammered with wind and dust. And so we've just decided to move it down a little bit to Aroostook Creek. This is where our course went last year, down Aroostook Creek, and you were running kind of in the creek bed on a single track for a little bit, and then you climbed up and out of the single track onto a heinous ATV road. So
it was like a fence line trail, basically. To me, when we scouted it, it was beautiful because we were there right at sunrise, I think, and some of the early runners were there at sunset. But a lot of us, including myself, were in the dark, and it was really kind of like
baby head
a
cobbles.
Slap in the face after what we just went through that morning. So we figured, let's keep things moving towards Prescott, and let's do another couple miles on the Senator Highway.
Yeah, totally. Yep. So yeah, we moved the aid station to Aroostook Creek just to kind of make things clear and a little bit better situation for the aid station, and then continued on Senator Highway, which is not a highway at all, but it is a dirt road with some great views until you get to the Yankee Doodle Trail, and then we're continuing on there.
Yeah, so right here is where we came in off of this trail right here. So that was like the end of I think it's Yankee Doodle there too, maybe.
You're right.
But after Arastra, so this was that part. You cross this little road, and then That's where you're going to come in from. So Senator Highway in, and then that is the same as it was before. So you kind of, from there up to Camp Kippa will be identical.
Yep. Yeah, totally. Those 18 runners that ran last year are definitely going to be happy with this course change, I feel. So we got that one. Aid Station 6, so was Camp Wamatochik, and we're just moving down the road just a little bit to Friendly Pines Camp. It's actually the location that we had originally selected, but then COVID threw things for a loop. So we moved for the 2021 race. And
so here's that little tiny change. So before we were coming down this trail, we probably cut straight up there to hit the camp.
Yep.
And then connected back in. So you're just going to stay straight on this section, tie in.
Yep, exactly. Very little course change. We just moved the aid station just.
And you can see right here on this zoomed out view, this is Groom Creek. You briefly hit that little town, and you're going to be hanging a left here instead. And this is where your Friendly Pines is.
Yep. Yeah, totally. So it's going to be a bigger and better aid station. So there's more parking and a little bit more amenities, and you don't have to go so far off the course to the aid station. So that's an improvement for sure. This is one of the major changes that we made, and actually pretty stoked about how it turned out. Jamil still needs to get out on the course and run this section.
So we have to jump quite a bit ahead, right?
Yeah.
All the same through Prescott, through town there, Granite Dells, Prescott Valley, Fane Ranch, all the same.
Yep.
All the same, all the way up to Mingus Camp, and then here we go. So yeah, last year after we left Aid Station 10, Mingus Mountain Camp, you climbed up to the very top. There's a little glider port at the top of Mingus Mountain, and then you went down on Trail 105. Great single track, pretty rocky, but takes a big drop off of Mingus Mountain. Incredible views, and you can see Jerome and everything in the distance.
It really is a great trail. And then we would hang a right to go on to, I think it's Trail 106. Yep. Trail 106, and then you connect on to this dirt road that
the Allen Springs Road.
Forever coming into Jerome.
And it gets just, at first it's smooth, and then it's like the miles click by and the rocks keep growing, and it becomes kind of a rocky mess towards the bottom.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's one of those things where you come around a corner and you see Jerome and you're like, all right, sweet, we're almost there. And then you tuck around this other corner and go into the canyon, and then you come back out, and just it seems like Jerome never appears. And it's, to me, it's kind of messing with your mind. So
yeah,
happy for this change. So instead of turning right on 105, we're going to stay left at a junction coming down off of Mingus Mountain, and quickly get onto some dirt roads. We'll cross Highway 89 and then stay above Jerome. These are some real great open views. So not that much different, but a better surface to run on. And then I think the coolest thing is just before you come into Jerome, you're looking down onto this United Verde mine, which from above, which is really cool. And then you run right below it. So, one of the reasons that, we've really want to stay running through Jerome is the mining history of Jerome. And this, you see the big mine twice. You get two great views of it. So really cool part of the course. Jerome, the town, requested this course change also from us. And they're welcoming us back again this year, thanks in part to the work that the runners did staying quiet through Jerome. So yeah, we're happy to be back. Happy to have an even better course coming into Jerome. Adds a couple of miles to the course, but we've kind of shaved in other places as well to keep us at, we're right at 250 right now. We'll see. That changes all the time. Okay, cool. So that's that, the Jerome section. Okay, the next little change is Sedona. It's the airport loop. So still crossing the Verde River They're between Cottonwood and Clarkdale. Jumping on the Lime Kiln Trail, take you all the way up to the Sedona area. And then you hit all these amazing trails coming into Sedona. So a little bit of a change. So instead of taking the loop that takes you around counterclockwise around the airport, we're jumping and cutting mileage a little bit and going on the north side of the airport for a clockwise loop. Just get a little bit different views in Sedona. There's no bad views.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yep.
Cuts a little bit of mileage. Keeps us at the 250 mark. So that's a great one. And then here's the big change. So what was the impetus behind this? Did this come from Peter?
I think this came from, I think, me finding out that they've been doing work on this new trail system. It's kind of single track, and they have some OHV trails out there, but it connects Munns Park, which I have a connection to Munns Park because my grandma has a cabin there. Like ever since I was a little kid, we would always go to Munns Park and go to the cabin up there. And cool. So like that's our initial draw, but they've been developing a trail system in Munns Park, and it now connects all the way up to Flagstaff, which is super cool. And it goes through Kachina Mountain Air and then Fort Tuthill. And it just seemed like we should investigate this. I did not know about this a couple years ago. I don't think it was finished 2 years ago when we started this process. So cool. We figured, I knew there was one other way up and out of Sedona that's not wilderness. Well, it's Schnebley Hill Road or Kasner Canyon Trail instead of Kasner Mountain Trail.
Yeah.
So we figured we should investigate it. So that's what you did recently.
Yeah, I did. I had a big day, and we found a good alternate. So yeah, let's tell you about this. It's in the works still. We got still quite a bit of work to do with the Forest Service. And with a couple of these communities we pass through to get permission. But let's tell you about what the route would entail. So you leave the Sedona aid station same way you would before. The church is right over here at the bottom of the screen. You go out on single track, great views in Sedona. Shortly after the light blue line is this new course option that we're looking at. This is all single track. It's a connection to the Jim Thompson Trail, which takes you over to the Midgley Bridge. The Midgley Bridge it's pretty iconic, and unless you get out and look at this bridge, you don't really see it. If you're driving north on 89A out of Sedona, you don't really get a good view, but it's a beautiful bridge.
Over Oak Creek Canyon. Huge drop below it.
Yeah, it is a pretty big chasm. So that's cool. So we get to come out right there at that trailhead, go underneath the bridge on a single track. It's really beautiful. And then we go along Oak Creek for a little while, drop down through Grasshopper Point. And then we get to cross Oak Creek, which is another thing that we're really excited about.
So another creek crossing, which will, if it's another hot day in Sedona, will be a godsend.
Yes. Yep. And it's, it could be, it's a creek, but it's a large creek. I mean, when I went through, it was almost knee deep. And you're wading across, it's probably 20 meters. So, it's a decent sized creek for sure.
Probably similar to the Verde.
Yeah, I would think it's really similar to crossing the Verde River. Yeah. So that's a really cool section. And then you get on a single track climbing up Kasner Canyon, which I don't know why I love this so much that our options are either Kasner Mountain Grade or Kasner Canyon Trail. So,
yep. So yeah, it's kind of swapping out that power line climb. So this is the new feared climb, I guess. You got to get up and out of Sedona one way or the other.
It's really pretty gentle. It reminds me a lot of, I'm blanking on the section of course that it reminds me of. But it's just a nice, gentle, it's the climb up to Mingus from Fain Ranch.
I mean, maybe gentle when you don't have 100+ miles on your legs.
All right, fine. It starts out gentle and then it gets steep towards the end. It's a lot more gentle than the Kazner Mountain grade with under the power lines there. That's just a really steep climb. So, and it's a beautiful canyon. You're looking back onto Sedona and the red rock walls. You get up to an amazing viewpoint up here at the intersection of Schnelby Hill Vista, where it joins back onto double track. So, a lot of single track in this first little section leaving Sedona. We were on single track leaving Sedona before. This kind of trades the east side to the west side. The west side gets a ton of ATV traffic and mountain bike traffic and hiker traffic. So it takes us out of that high traffic area and still amazing single track climbing up on the plateau. So that part is great. Then we jump on the Schnelby Hill Road. And we're on a dirt road. It's for
You're
the
up in the
most
pines,
part,
right?
Yeah. There's a pretty quick transition area from the juniper and to the pines, but it happens. It's crazy how quickly it happens. It's like just a wall of pines. And then you're in the pines, and you're up on the Coconino Plateau, and Schnelby Hill Road, and then it goes on to more Forest Service roads. Are great. We'll have an aid station in this area here, swapping out for
Black Tank.
Before Black Tank, Huntley Tank.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Huntley.
So this will replace.
Don't forget
Huntley
about
Tank.
Huntley.
Yeah.
Never forget.
And both Huntley and Black Tank were getting hammered with dust from ATVs, so this will be another nice switch for that as well. Then we continue. We cross under I-17. Not a whole lot of traffic, that interchange. And then at this section, it's a few miles of dirt Forest Service roads in the pines. Very beautiful until you get to Munns Park. In Munns Park, we'll have another aid station there at Munns Park. Still working on the details there. Right now, we've just shown the route cutting straight through Munns Park, but there's some single track that gets us around. We just got to figure out where the aid station is and figure out the exact route. And then right after you leave Munns Park, then you get onto that. It's a dual purpose single track. It's the Kelly trail system. It's really a dirt bike trail system, but it's a great single track. So, it alternates between just soft pine bed under your feet to super rocky, volcanic, chunky stuff. But it's great single track, and it winds around and goes kind of up and down and on the plateau for a long time. You're on that single track for about 14, 15 miles until you get into Mountain Air. Cross back underneath the interstate there at Mountain Air. Jump onto about a mile of pavement. We'll have another aid station just before Mountain Air, and then you're on to single track again coming into Fort Tuthill. So, the mix of single track, double track pavement is more single track than we had before. I think the views and the trees are just a little bit better than what we had. Less traffic than the west side of Sedona and that area after the climb up onto the plateau. And then we do have about a mile and a half of pavement. So that does add a little bit of pavement. But overall, I think it's a great option. So we'll let you know when that's finalized. But right now it's looking pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, let us know what you think, especially those of you that ran last year. We know it was definitely a lot of dirt road miles once you get out of that Sedona trail system from Huntley all the way up and around to just a few miles before Tuthill. So I know there will definitely be still quite a bit of miles of dirt road, but we're trying to just mix it up a little bit and see. So we're still playing around with the idea, but we're going to fully investigate this to see if we can, get permission from these communities and see if we can make it work. It's kind of cool. It adds a couple more little towns along the way too.
Yeah, it does. And both are great. So whatever we end up with, it's gonna be
I think
great.
even if, I think you can't lose either way.
Yeah. Yeah. So happy about that. And then aid station 21, the last aid station before the finish, Mount Eldon, we're just going to move that down off of the peak. The aid station tent came back in shreds, and the volunteers were telling us that they just got hammered with wind.
Yeah. It's just going to move from what we were right up here just down to right there, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it'll be in the trees, shouldn't get too torn up.
Yeah. Hopefully
around.
not as hammered. So,
yeah.
Yep. And that's it. That's what we got in the way of some other course changes. We'll let you know next time, but those are the ones that we're narrowed in on working on right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking the time, Steve, in your planning schedule to sit down for a few minutes. And we plan to do a couple more of these before the race. So maybe we'll do one in January and kind of update you on the progress and everything going on. So stay tuned for, again, the inaugural year documentary this Friday. And
can't wait.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below, or you can always reach out to Steve or myself directly. That's it.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.
All right. Thank you. See you guys.